So let's ask Harminder Bains from the UK to come forward. She is a very talented and successful lawyer. She's going to share 10 minutes worth of what's happening in the US, and she is phenomenal.
Firstly, thank you very much, Linda, and the ADAO board for inviting me. I mean, this is an amazing conference. I think all of you got to agree. The experts we've heard from today and the information every year, when I come here, I learn so much. So thank you very much. I wanted to speak to you just to update you as to what's been going on in the UK, so that I don't go over time. I should have a timer, but I've just... Can you give me a timer? So, I mean, basically, in the UK, I'm dealing more and more on a daily basis. Me and my colleagues are getting clients saying they've been exposed, and we are discovering that they've been exposed purely by working in buildings, public buildings, hospitals, schools, offices, banks, you name it, they're exposed. And that's because I think, as we've heard today, the buildings have been constructed with asbestos products. Now look at these ceiling tiles. These are ceiling tiles. They're made of asbestos AIB, that's asbestos insulation board. Look at this internal office wall. Again, that's AIB. Look at this, one extraordinary, look at this door. Someone's even hanging their clothes on there. This is asbestos board. It's called Asbestolux. That's made of asbestos. All these are asbestos products. Now, these are some of the clients who I've represented and my colleagues have represented over the years. Apart from these two, this is Dr. Riaz Shah and this is Professor Slozrak, and they're there for a good reason. That's because... first going back to the clients. So these clients, some of them are alive and some of them have sadly passed away, but they range from, carpenters to millionaires working in offices, to young women. So it affects all ages. My clients now, the youngest my client is now 20 years old, and he was exposed purely by going to school because the school building is constructed of asbestos. Now, my colleagues and I have put together, this is a film, various films, and these are our clients and their stories as to how they were exposed and how the asbestos affected and devastated their lives. And these two doctors have kindly, if you go to the link, they have put together answers to questions they're regularly asked in clinic. Asbestos is, I'm glad to say, is getting into the newspapers these days. So look, you can see in England, asbestos time bomb in supermarkets. That's shopping malls for you guys. It's also in our government building. That's the equivalent of it being in the US Capitol building for you. And this just tells us, look, saleswomen, nurses, PE teacher, asbestos. Janice Allen was exposed while working in a shop. Mr. Winton was exposed whilst working at Heathrow Airport. By the way, Heathrow Airport, those of you who come regularly to the UK, contains tons of asbestos. This is my client, Mr. Gura. He was a nurse. By the way, during the litigation, the defendant's expert argued because he was Indian, he was genetically inferior. This is Julia Brown. She was a PE teacher. She simply died because she worked and taught pupils PE. And by the way, when I did the case, we discovered she was worried most of the time about the children being exposed. She kept saying, I'm really worried because the children were in the PE room when I taught them and the asbestos dust was on the floor. Now, because I've had so many clients and they all, by the way, they all have died. Not a single client is alive. We all know the devastating effect of mesothelioma in this room. I don't think I need to go on about it. I sat there and I thought, well, how are we going to tell the next generation as to how dangerous asbestos is and what we should do about it? Because most people think it's an old man's disease. Most people think it's dead and buried, but it isn't. So I basically have been working with a bunch of students who are from the Brighton Academy of Arts, and they are the students who sing and dance and eventually get onto the Western stage and also in the US. So they decided, because I asked them to do a song, their version of Pink Floyd's Another Brick in the Wall, and I'd like you to hear it. So basically, in conclusion, what's happened is most of you are aware of the documents which I managed to obtain a legal court case against CAPE, which they tried to conceal the dangers of, but did the case for 3.5 years. It took me 3.5 years with 2 other lawyers to get these documents in the public domain, which showed the true dangers of asbestos, of the products which this one of the largest manufacturers in the world. And by the way, CAPE has also sent to the US loads of tons of asbestos, which I know some lawyers in the US are now currently suing them in the Carolina courts. So when I did that case, it was done pro bono for 3.5 years. And the forum who I acted for basically said afterwards to CAPE, please, can you pay £10 million for medical research, because we don't want clients, we want there to be medical research to find a cure for mesothelioma. And this year, due to working with them, putting pressure on the government, there was finally an inquiry in the House of Commons, that's in our government building, where I gave evidence together with many medical professionals such as Dr. Robin Rudd, Peter Slozrak and other experts. And we gave evidence to the parliamentarians, and we asked that CAPE should not be given any more government contracts, because they are now continuing to basically they get government contracts where they're being paid, you won't believe this, billions of pounds to remove asbestos from buildings, which they formerly put in the building. So they're profiting firstly by bringing asbestos in the UK, secondly by making asbestos products and putting them in the buildings, and they're now being awarded government contracts, which taxpayers like me are paying them billions of pounds to remove it. So the forum put pressure on the government to say, don't award them any more government contracts until they pay over this £10 million to doctors, because we want there to be research to find a cure for mesothelioma. I'm glad to say the inquiry concluded, and it has recommended that to the government, and we're hoping that will happen very soon. Thank you very much.